evening and welcome to the show on this radio station. I hope you're all well. Yes, it's Monday night at 6 o'clock and it's time for my show. Well, we're going to kick off with China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. Enjoy. The Doobie Brothers on this radio station. Might like a bit of country rock there. I do. I love China Grove. Right. Okay. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. And like I said at the start of the programme, hope you're all well. What have we got coming up on the show? Well, we've got local news. We've got local weather. And we're going to just have a general bit of chit-chat. But we want to know what you've all been up to, so you can contact the show at theradiostation.co.uk. You can make a request, or you can just say hello. Tell me what you're doing. Right, we do have a request coming up now, and it's from Claire, and she's saying, "Hi Sean, can you play a Boxer Beat by Joe Boxers?" No problem, Claire. That's coming up next.
The Running Man plays man's music. But he's not scared to girl it up.
Say man, you heard about this boxing style? Well listen up, I think it's worth your while. Just shake your knees.
Okay, so what is going on here then? Well, let me just explain first of all the setup, and I think the best thing to do is show you how I source my music to create my home studio. Here we are. I'm basically just going to fill my computer, so you've all got all sorts of weird lines and things appearing. So what I use is Spotify. Okay. So what that means is if you sign up to Spotify, now I will recommend actually subscribing to it. I'm not sponsored by it or anything like that. If you use the free version, it's just way too awkward to use. So when you sign up to it, what you can do is create playlists. I would suggest go and watch other YouTube videos on how to set up Spotify. But you can see I have a playlist here. And that playlist can be chopped and swapped around. Let's just see if I can give you an example of that. If I were to press this button here, it would start playing the track. There we go, you can hear it. I don't want to play too much of it, but I can also hit the space bar on the computer, start it and stop it. I can also press F11 on the PC. There we go, that overrules everything. And it also pauses it as well. So lots of different ways of starting it. You could start it from this master start button here, and then if you want to queue up a track, all you do is you pull the timeline back like this. There we go, and that track is queued up. So if you press play, there we go, we're rolling now. And then when you get to the end of the track, I'm going to speed the timeline up. There we are. So as we get to the end of the track, we want to outro it. I'm doing is I'm not talking about internet radio. You would actually have to get a website together to broadcast internet radio. What I'm doing is just talking about a simple recording studio or a setup, a radio station setup in your living room where you can record a show, not broadcast it, all right? So that's another story altogether. It's a simple cable out of the computer, and then that is hooked up by RCA cable into the mixer. Okay, and I've also got my iPad hooked up by RCA cable into the one of the inputs, stereo inputs on the mixer. Okay, this is just a sampler. That's the sampler I use occasionally. I don't use that at the station. That's also connected into one of the inputs. So you get it? Yep. There's the headphone jack. If you've got headphones on, that stops the feedback coming back into the mic. Okay, and you can hear everything's going on. So if producers sat in another room, you can hear them through your headphones. You can hear your music, you hear your bed music. I'm playing the outro to China Grove, and I will turn this down. Okay, that was China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. Now, I don't want to hear the next song starting to play. I'm going to bring that control up now, which has what's known as my bed music on. Now, the bed music is being played from a separate source. Okay, so where is that separate source? I'm going to tell you after this. Watch what happens. Now, when I push that fader back up, it's now playing Give Me 3 Steps. Right, I don't want that. I don't want it to do that, because I want that 3 steps to be the next track. Right, so what I'll be doing is chattering away. Go back over to the computer. Okay, so let's just adjust the mic. Right, so we're back over at the computer, and what I'm going to do is, while I'm chattering away, I'm going to press pause. I'm going to bring the timeline back. Now I have got Give Me 3 Steps all queued up, ready to play, and it's been paused, okay? So we're bringing the mic back down here. So what I can do is now set the level. Here we go, watch this. I'm going to set the level for Give Me 3 Steps, okay? So I've got the level set for Give Me 3 Steps. That's my mic level. Hello. See what I mean? I can adjust the condenser mic. So I can adjust the levels on that using that fader. That fader over there is just for my handheld mic, which is this one, which enables me to do this video a little bit easier. Okay. But I'm having to do the old 3-hand shuffle or matron at the moment. I'm having to hold my phone and the mic at the same time. So I'm actually using the condenser mic to tell you all about this. So you can hear that bed music, which is controlled by this fader. Okay? And the bed music is coming from over here. So this is just a simple iPad. And as you can see, I've got all my bed music on the iPad, and the iPad is offline, you see. So what you do is you download your bed music off of Spotify, take your iPad offline, and then that means you can use your Spotify in conjunction with your Spotify on your computer. If both are online, the Spotify will want to choose one or the other. Okay, once again, check out Spotify. So there we go. That's the inputs, the music inputs into the mixer. Incidentally, the bed music is on a loop on Spotify, so it just keeps playing the same music over and over again. So I can guarantee that's on there every single time when I bring that fader up. Let's show you now how I control the mixer. Remember, as one song finishes, if I don't want to roll into the next song, I could just leave it playing and roll into it and introduce it, or I could put a jingle in between. You can get jingles and you can get them on your local files, and then you can put them, mix them in on your computer. Okay, mix them into your playlist.
Holy mackerel! The running man has chosen all of tonight's songs. Don't worry though, the dynamic duo will get us out of this tricky situation.
Holy nightmare!
You can also look up your playlist using the search engine. So if you're getting requests coming in, you simply search for that request and then you can drag and drop into your playlist. Right, watch this. Now then, did you see that? Did you see how I can drag and drop and I can reconfigure the playlist? There you go. That's what you do. So you can file your playlist, get that all ready. You can change the songs, you can delete the songs, do all sorts of things with that playlist. Okay? And everything is hooked up from the PC. So what I've done is I've connected the PC to the mixer via a cable just coming out of the headphone jack. You could use your USB cable. Right, so shall we now talk a little bit about the mixing desk and how you do that very tricky shuffle from when one song finishes to when you start broadcasting, start talking, and then you queue up the next track. Okay, let's get into what I'm doing on the mixing desk. So like I say, this is just for my dynamic mic, so I'm going to put that on mute because I am now talking through the condenser mic. So what happens in a radio studio or your home radio studio when you want to start your show? Okay, so we got 10 seconds to go. Then at 5 seconds, it's 5, 4, 3, 2. Every mic's on at 2 seconds. You put the mics on, and the producer will literally just go. So to simulate 2, 1, bang. Then you're on air. Okay. So it'll be 5, 4, 3, and you're on. Okay. So when he points that finger, you then hit the music button. You could introduce the show first before hitting the music. You could say, hi, welcome to the radio station. We're going to kick off with China Grove by the Doobie Brothers, and then bang, hit the music. But for this demonstration, what I'm going to do is just show you exactly what I do involving the music fader. Some DJs like to fade their audio levels down. They like to fade it down like that. Okay, I prefer to mute it. So I'm now using the condenser mic, and if I mute the condenser mic, you now can't hear me through that condenser mic. Okay, so once you've got your track playing, obviously you're going to want to mute all of these mics. You see the yellow light means they're muted. Then that means you can have a conversation. You can take your headphones off, watch your timeline to make sure you get back on air before your track ends. And you can then have a conversation with people in the studio that you might not want your listeners to hear. And obviously they don't want to hear you talking all over the music. So once you've started your track, you hit you mute all these mics. Okay? So let's just demonstrate what actually goes on. So here we go. Right, so we're going to start the show now. We're going to show you what I did at the start of the program, but you can now see me working the mixer. So it's 5 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3. And hello and welcome to the radio show. We're kicking off with the Doobie Brothers and China Grove. Okay, so what went on there? Well, what I did is when I started the music, I had it at the output volume. I want it playing when I've got all these mics muted. But listen. Hello. so you can hardly hear me over the top of it. So what I do, I start the music, pop it down a little bit, and then do the introduction. It's the same with the outro. So let's just turn that down. While the song was playing, everything was on mute, and when you've got about 10-20 seconds of the song left, you say to the producer or anyone in the studio, okay, mics are going hot, or we're going to switch the mics back on. Mics back on, and then everyone shuts up because you got to do your thing. Okay, so mics. So the music will be playing. Let's just start the music. Here it comes. So start the music. Music's playing. Mics on, everybody. Turn the audio, the playlist music down. That was China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. Now you might want the next song to start. You might want it to start. So it's going to start. Boxer Beat is starting now. Okay. So you'd say, okay, our next track up is Boxer Beat by Joe Boxers.
Well, listen up, I think it's worth your while. Just
And away you go. So you would then play Boxer Beat. But what if you wanted to do some talky stuff? Obviously, you don't want your next track starting, do you? There we go, China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. Oh, what a great track that was. Now, I'm going to tell you about what's coming up on the show. Now, what you see I've done there is I've brought the levels of the music level down. Okay, so the music input level down. The next song is still playing. Listen. There, but you can't hear it. So while I'm chatting away here, I am now going to officially cue the next song up. So you saw how I queued songs up on the video earlier. So I'm pressing pause on Boxer Beat, which is the next song. I am now dragging that timeline back, but the whole time I'm doing this, I'm saying, okay, coming up on the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the weather, the local weather. We're going to talk about an event that's coming up in the town. So the whole time, that's the tricky bit. It's like I say, it's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. Then don't forget to make sure that you push the fader up for your music to the level you want it to output. So now that music is all queued up. Okay, so I can chill out now. I can chat with the producer possibly. I can tell everybody what's going on in the local area. And now I want to play the next track. So I want to play the next track. That means I'm going to hit the play button. I'm then going to bring the bed music down. Yeah, because you don't want to hear that playing over it. And then I'm going to mute the mics. Okay, well, it's time for some more music, and we're going to play a Boxer Beat. It's a request from Joe Blogs. We're going to play Boxer Beat by Joe Boxers. Right, I'm clicking the space bar on the computer now. And you can hear the music starting. So I've brought my bed music. I brought my bed music down. Yeah. And as you can see, I've muted the mics. But I wouldn't have brought that down. I just brought that down so you could hear us then. And away we go. So away we go. So that's playing now, and I can chill out again for 5 minutes. I can have a slurp of coffee. And what you do is you keep that routine going and going and going. I could even, on Spotify, I could bring a jingle in perhaps. I have been using the sampler for it in this video. This is a sampler. I've got a lot of jingles and sound effects in the sampler. These Akai samplers really are for making music, so you have to, every single time you fire them up, you've got to take all the reverb off and stuff like that, so I rarely ever use it. However, if you did want to take the time to set this up, it's ideal for your sound effects and things like that, like this. Do you see what I mean? Or, say if I'd made a terrible joke, which I quite often do, got the drums of pun there as well, so I can knock out the bed music and I could say, oh dear, I've just said a terrible joke. I've also got my...
The running man plays man's music.
See, I've got my jingles in there as well. But you could bring one in from your local files, which is what I'm going to do now. Here comes the jingle. I've just mixed it in.
On radio.
There we go. So that's the jingle.
Stronger. Faster.
So I brought my jingle in, but I don't want the next song to play. So I've brought the fader down for the music, and I brought the bed music up. Okay, remember all these mics would be up as well. So blah 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 blah. I want to talk. What I'm doing, the next song is Let Your Love Flow, but it's playing. I am now pausing it. I'm bringing the timeline back. Okay, and I'm gonna push the volume up for Let Your Love Flow because that's next. So we're all good to go again. So the next track coming up is, let's just do this properly, right? Okay. So I put the handheld mic down. Right, the next track coming up is Let Your Love Flow by, who's it by? By the Bellamy Brothers. Here it is. So there you go, that's your little routine that you do, okay? And you can play around with that, you can play around with jingles. You will, it is a little bit tricky. Eventually you'll get it. You'll get it all sussed out in the end, and good luck doing so. It just means a lot of practice, you know what I mean? Trying to get your head around it. To me, it seems fairly easy, fairly straightforward, but I've practiced this for hours and hours. I do a 1 hour show every week. We're going out live, so what goes out live stays out there, you know, you can't bring it back. So always good to have a little practice in your own home studio. Okay, well, it's time to end another show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for all your messages, all your texts and your requests. We'll be back next same time next Monday, but until then, we're down, we're clear, and we're gone, and we're going to end with Groove Is in the Heart by D-Light. See you next week.
We're going to dance. We're going to
It's
dance.
as simple as that. All right, anyway, till the next video, goodbye.